the fact that this panel exists is really exciting because I know as a content creator on the East Coast, it's almost very like very seldom that you hear or see a lot of people streaming in your area. I know that's been the case for me for quite a while. So the fact that Phil invited me on, I was like, okay, there is actually an interest in the Maritimes for this sort of thing. I can share what I've got to know.
I'm actually getting, hello, is that better? I might actually use this because maybe people out there might hear it and then want to come in. So, marketing, we always have to think about that.
Exactly.
We're always marketing ourselves, we're entertainers.
Or trying to at least.
Yeah. So why don't we get started telling our story? Zach, you've been doing this a lot longer than I have, so I would love to hear from you, like, why you got started streaming, how you got started streaming. Yeah, tell us a little bit about it.
So, I've actually been streaming since the end of 2017, the starting of 2018. I was predominantly on YouTube since 2011 up until that point, and I made the switch over to streaming because, oh hey Alex, good to see ya.
I just ran like 10 miles an hour.
Thank you, you're great.
Appreciate it. You're welcome. So yeah, I started streaming after doing content creation on YouTube first because I found all the elements to making YouTube videos got to be a little too daunting for me. I was in university at the time, so having to schedule out time to script a video, shoot the video, edit the video, share the video, it got too much, and I decided, you know what, Twitch, I just have to press start, and then I just go. So I cut the amount of time I was working on one piece of content in half, and I'm an actor, I'm primarily like an actor by passion, so the live format was a lot better for me. Like, I love interacting with people as I'm creating a piece of content. I love, in a sense, performing, even though on screen on Twitch I am just myself. So it really fit my personality a lot better, and it worked a lot better for my time.
Nice, that's awesome. I'm similar to you. I've been a content creator for a long time. Mostly on YouTube. I've been producing videos and working in the design and marketing industry for a long time. Most of the content that I created in the past has been for other people, either as a content creator myself, on camera, producing content for other brands, or also as a video editor working behind the scenes, like doing all the post-production work on other people's content. It wasn't until, what year was it? I think it was around the same time, 2017, 2018, 2019? I don't even remember. I was actually in Hawaii. I don't know if any of you remember this, but several years ago, it was in the news, probably more in the US than it was here in Canada, but in Hawaii, there was a person who had accidentally sent out a text message to everybody saying there was an incoming missile and everybody had to go for shelter. And then for 15, 20 minutes, they never corrected it. So it was like pandemonium in Hawaii. Everybody thought they were gonna die. They were trying to find a bunker to go into, which is really hard because I was on Big Island. And Big Island's like one massive volcano and it's all lava rock. I'm like, where are we even gonna go? So after, obviously, it wasn't a missile, I'm still here. But that put a lot of things into perspective for me. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do the things that I wanna do. And so that kind of started the journey for me to actually do this. I didn't actually launch my own channel for streaming, for game streaming, until last summer, so I'm still technically kind of new at it. But it has grown really quickly. I'm already a Twitch affiliate. I did hit, for a very, very brief period of time, I was in the top 2.5% on Twitch for a little while. And so yeah, it's been quite a journey. Before that, like I mentioned, I have been creating content for other people. You can make a job as as a content creator, even if you're not doing it for yourself, there's a lot of ways to get involved. As you can see right here, I did a lot of stuff in the tabletop gaming space. So this is a picture of me in northern UK at a castle where I was invited to be a dungeon master at D&D in the castle, alongside like Mark Meir, the voice of Commander Shepard from the Mass Effect games, Jason Charles Miller, who wrote the music for Critical Role, and he's a very big voice actor in the anime space. Thorneye, who's a Hollywood actor who was in DC Legends of Tomorrow, I think it was called.
Oh,
He was in the new Rebel Moon movies, and a couple other actors and stuff. I felt way out of my depth. Whenever I got there, I was like, why am I even here?
What am I doing here?
I know, I was excited until I got to the hotel and met these people. I'm like, I'm having a panic attack. I'm regretting my life choices. But anyway, it was fine. It was great. It was fantastic. But
So mistakes were in fact not made.
and yeah, they were not made. In fact, actually, I had a lot of those DMs actually come into my game and wanted to drop in and watch because they heard that my games were so fun. But anyway, that's just like, there's other ways to be a content creator other than streaming. But this is more about streaming. So let's talk about like the practicalities of what it's like to actually stream and the different types of streaming you can do. So
Absolutely. So I guess I classify myself majorly as an open world RPG streamer. So I like to play a lot of games that have a main story focus, like say Assassin's Creed. You've got like a main story for the main character, but then you don't have to stay on that one track the whole time. You can do like a bunch of other things on the side. Like for example, for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I really like going off and fighting the forts. And then just kind of like leave the main story stuff, like, oh, you have to go find your mom, you know, that later. And like that part's fun for me. It really helps kind of craft on screen the sort of things people can expect. And also like, there's a thing on Twitch, you can program a death counter. So if I go into a fort, okay, whenever I die, exclamation point, day, and then see how many times I get up to on that. So like Assassin's Creed, but my main game for the first 5 years of my journey was actually a sandbox called Sea of Thieves. Very cartoony pirate game. I see some fist bumping in the background, love to see it. And that is quite literally a choose your own adventure game. You can go off, you can fight forts, you can fight sea monsters. There's a huge PvP aspect. The game is it's PvPvE. So you can literally go off, choose to fight other players, choose to fight things that are just in the world. And those games have really helped solidify for me the joys of gaming. I love doing things on my own, but then I also love interacting with other players. And it's been really, really nice for me transitioning these past few years to a more broader open world RPG genre where I'm playing Sea of Thieves, Assassin's Creed, Hogwarts Legacy, Palia, Assassin's Creed Shadows recently, and just the amount of games that I've been able to get into that have had great reception from people that are just there to chill and watch what I can get up to has been awesome.
I noticed the theme here with Zach's games is it tends to be a little bit more of that open world genre. So sticking, whether you're a variety streamer or you stream a specific game, especially when you're getting started, having a particular genre that you kind of can attract people from is kind of an easy way to go about it, a good way to go about it, because that way, you know, if you're playing open world games, chances are that people are going to come in like open world games and they might like the other games that you play too.
Exactly. Like that's one thing that is kind of in some, like a little debate in the streaming community is a niche growth versus variety growth. Some people come in and they want to watch a specific thing. So like for those first 5 years that I was doing Sea of Thieves, when people came in, they knew they were going to get Sea of Thieves content. And now it's more like when you come in, then you're going to get some sort of open world RPG. It might not be particularly for you on that given day, and that's all right. It could be for somebody else. And I think it's good to have things that people know you for, because consistency is key when it comes to content creation. But that doesn't necessarily mean specific content is the consistency that you need. More sometimes it might just be the same time, like you would tune into a regular TV show every week at, say, 5 o'clock Atlantic. Then you know someone's going to be on that's doing the content that you want to watch. It might not be the same game, but it is the genre that you like. So I think that's really a good thing with that consistency, having one or the other, content or time.
I try to do a little bit of both. I have a consistent schedule, as you can see. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at the same time, usually from, this is Easter because who is in Canada? Normally from 9 p.m. my time until about noon or until about midnight. I try to finish at midnight. We were just having this conversation. Sometimes it's really hard to end on time because people will come in right at the end of your stream and you're like, wow, I got some new people, and now I just don't want to end right after it. So it's really hard. We'll talk more about the pitfalls and the things that are hard about it later. So I try to keep a consistent schedule, just because similar to what Zach was saying, people expect a certain thing and they like their routines. And in terms of content, instead of starting off with a specific game, I was more in a specific genre and kind of a niche genre. So I played a lot of anime gacha games. That was my thing. So Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, all Wario games, because I knew if I played one, then chances are the other people in that community would play the other ones. Wuthering Waves, all that kind of stuff. So I knew that if people came in, they're going to like that stuff. So now I can actually branch out from that. One of the strategies I've been doing is to look at other games. I actually go into the research. There's a whole research section inside of Twitch that you can get some insights on. And I will find games that have low competition but decent amount of views. So one of the strategies that's actually helped me, you'll notice here, I have a Tuesday party night with Jackbox and Gartic Phone. And the reason why I do that is that there are a decent amount of people watching, but very few people streaming. So you're gonna rank really high really quickly. And so by doing something like Gartic Phone, I do Genshin Impact themed Gartic Phone so that people come in, they wanna watch it. We talk a lot about Genshin Impact during the stream, and then when they come to my normal streams where we're playing these gacha games, they know what to expect. They want to come back for more because they're interested in the same stuff.
And that works really nicely because doing the party games with viewers, they're getting involved in something that they already know to expect from you. And then just when they come back around for the actual Genshin Impact night, then I can kind of flow into the party games.
Yeah,
that's a really good strategy.
It's quite a cycle. So people come, they want to play games with you, and then they want to see the content that you create with the other games, and then you do party games to bring in new people, but then also the people who are there want to play with you, and so it's just this
big old circular chain reaction going on.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how we get people into the stream. But once they're there, how do you keep them entertained for 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 or 6 hours? I've seen streamers who are streaming for hours. What are some of the things that you've done, Zach, in order to keep people entertained while they're there?
Well, first of all, I've always kind of followed the rule of thumb that I've heard from someone I moderate for. Always stream like you have, he says 1,000 people watching. Sometimes that's a little too daunting for people. Stream like you have 200 people watching. That's probably what would you say, a stadium? So stream like you have a lot of people watching. And by that really just means asking, and keep them engaged. Ask questions, narrate what you're doing in the game. I'm personally on my channel, you'll find I come up with a lot of like quips or bad dad humor. I love puns, so I'll bring those out as much as possible. And it's just kind of like every so often it'll get a reaction from someone in chat like, haha, that's really funny, or they'll like quip back, and then you've got a little back and forth going on. So like always talking, keeping some sort of a narrative, even if it's not following like what's going on in the game, then it's engaging for people. If someone's streaming, if someone's scrolling through Twitch and they click on your stream, are they going to go into someone who's just staring at the screen, completely zoomed into the game, or are they going to go into someone who's creating a conversation? They've got dialogue, they have they have something to latch onto rather than just, oh, okay, this is just gameplay. Okay, well, I can watch that anywhere. Let me go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, as a streamer, we are entertainers. So we're supposed to be entertaining, not just with the gameplay that we play, but also with how we interact with people. A good friend of mine who is a full-time streamer, he once told me, think about it this way. You're not just competing against everyone else who's streaming on Twitch, but you're also competing against YouTube, TikTok, Netflix, Disney Plus. So you gotta be entertaining, you gotta be fun. You gotta have a reason for people to keep coming back.
And another thing that I really like to keep in mind and to tell people who want to get into streaming is there is something about you that is wholly unique from everybody else on the planet. You're not going to find another BuriedCandy. You're never going to find another ZachTag77. In name, possibly, like someone could have BuriedCandy _, which,
I've had trouble.
Trying to raid someone and you forget the underscore is one of the most embarrassing things that I've come across. Like I tried to raid one of my friends unexpected the other night, and I forgot his underscore. So I raided into this non-existent channel with like 6 people, and I'm like, oh, sorry about that, guys. So yeah, you are the only person on Twitch that is you. So let your personality shine, let your voice be heard, because there's nobody else on the platform who is going to have that.
Now, one thing I do want to bring up is that you've got 2 completely different types of streamers here on stage. You've got Zach, who is a personality who's on camera, entertaining that way, and then you've got myself, who's a VTuber. There are slight differences between how you entertain with both. So for someone in Zach's position, as a person on camera, it's almost like performing on stage. So your emotions, you have to bring it up a notch, just so that it comes across the camera, similar to how it would come across on a stage when you're performing. They always ask you, act like 10 times more excited than you actually would in personality. So that's also true, at least that's what I've been told.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you want to bring that energy. As a VTuber, I'm a little different. People can't see my expressions on my faces. So I have to bring it both energy-wise with my voice, but also interact in other ways. So one of the things that I found that's super helpful is adding so many different ways to people interact with in your stream. First and easy one, which works for both, whether you're on camera or VTuber, is chatting with your chat. I've been into so many streams where people just ignore the chat, and it's not as entertaining. I don't stick around as much. But if they're chatting with you, if they're acknowledging you, if they're asking you how your day is, or like bringing stuff up, yes?
So, a question about that. If the chat is dead, how do we engage it to get it flowing again?
So similar to what Zach has said, narrate what you're doing. So always just pretend that you've got people that you're chatting with. So you can always, talk about what you're doing, the strategy of it, teaching something about the game, talking talking about your life. There's a lot of different ways.
Yeah, if something happens in the game that actually reminds you a little bit of something that happened in your real life, launch into that. Like, I think one time I was playing Sea of Thieves and I got hit with a cannonball in the head, and in the game we call it a one-shot. So I basically got one shot with a cannonball, and that reminded me of a time when I was playing basketball or either basketball or soccer when I was younger, and the ball just smacked me straight in the head, and I had to kind of like snap myself back to what I was doing, and then somebody commented and was like, oh, I've had that happen to me like 4 different times in one game. I'm like, okay, good, so you know what I'm talking about, and that sort of things, making the connections to things that are happening in game to your real life, those can also be good launching boards for conversations in chat and get things moving again.
I do also have another hack for that. It's not available to everybody, especially if you're just getting started streaming. But if you can multi-stream to multiple platforms, then if one chat goes quiet, doesn't necessarily mean the other chat is. So sometimes my Twitch chat will go quiet, but my TikTok chat is active. So then I'm chatting with TikTok, and then...
But doesn't that go against the Twitch affiliate agreements?
There's a fine line.
Hasn't that changed recently?
I think it's changed. I think they may have removed it.
Last I heard, you can multi-stream. At first, I think it was you could stream to the Twitch platform, and then you can also stream on mobile. Now, I think it's come about that you can actually multi-stream to different platforms as an affiliate, and that's okay. I will have to fact check that.
Yeah, it's something that definitely we'll look into. I know it's changed recently. They have changed some of the rules on that. But yeah, that's another way that you can kind of engage people a little bit more. Some other stuff that I have as a Vtuber is like channel point redeems. Actually, that's good for both.
That is a perk of affiliacy, is you can have channel points that you can make different rewards for, and if people accumulate so many channel points on your channel, then they can activate basic things like hydrate, so then the streamer would take some water, or like stretch. There's a number of default ones on Twitch, but you can also make your own to customize things to your own stream. I know my friend Fernwich, she's also a Vtuber. She has channel point redeems for things that chat can do with her model. So one of the funniest things that I've seen recently she can have done is you can take her model's hair away, and then you can do a head pat. So then they're just patting a bald head. But yeah, it's really fun.
I don't know why, but people love the head pat. So if you put a head pat in your stream,
I don't have that. That'd be weird. Me just like going and patting my head while only under control. I'm like, what is up with that?
So many people like to pat my head while I'm
like,
streaming.
hey, good job, buddy.
I have a little cat too, which I added recently, and they love to pat the cat too. I don't know.
Okay, that's a little different because like it's a cat. If it's digital or if it's live action, that's just adorable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so like interacting with your streams, I actually have a couple where they can make me dance, my avatar dance. I don't know if I'm the only one who does that because people are like, your avatar dances? That's crazy. They can try to catch me with a Pokeball. It never works, by the way. But they can try. They can throw stuffed animals at me. They can, like, when they go to redeem the channel point for hydrate, instead of me just taking a drink of water, it actually hits me with a fire hose, so it's kind of entertaining as well. So there's a lot of things you can do to kind of, just add some extra little bits into that.
So what if someone threw a master ball at you?
It still doesn't work. I'm like immune to Pokeballs, apparently. Maybe I'll have to figure out. Maybe I'll
His
get an
avatar's a
animation.
ninja. Of course he's gonna be immune.
I just smoke screen one. I should actually. I'm gonna try. Maybe I'll try to figure out an animation where you can actually catch me when I'm phase and like or something.
Launching off of that, since those are all like affiliate things you can do for affiliates, so that could be one goal that you want to work toward is get affiliates so you can have the fun channel points and then chat and do that sort of things. What about when you're just starting?
Yeah, so if you don't have access to channel points, there are ways you can get around these things. Like, for example, there is a really great website that I use called Stream Elements. There are a bunch of perks for that. One is that you can add a chat bot into your stream that can react to things, to commands that you've set up. You don't need to be an affiliate to set that up. So instead, like before I became an affiliate, and I didn't have access to people redeeming channel points for Hydrate, I created my own commands. So people could type in !hydrate, and then it would trigger that, and it would say a message back and that kind of thing. So it's very light, but it still kind of gets the job done to kind of get that interactivity.
And if you do set stuff like that on, I cannot stress enough, put limits on them. One time, I forget if I was affiliated at this point or not, but I didn't set a cooldown for the Hydrate. How many bottles of water did I drink in one go? Was it like 2? Yeah, 2 straight bottles of water, and we're talking like 16 ounces. I just chugged it because chat was just going, hydrate, 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 hydrate. And I was like,
I have a similar story. Okay, so when I play games, I have ADHD. So I get distracted very easily in what I'm doing. I'm like, ooh, quest. Oh, treasure chest. Ooh, something else. And I'm like all over the place. So for entertainment, a lot of people find it entertaining, but also some people like to keep me on track of like, hey, you didn't finish this thing. So I had my community ask me, focus. I had my community ask me, can you do a channel point redeem where if you get distracted, it plays a foghorn to let you know you're getting distracted? And so I did it, and it's highly entertaining. And then similar thing happened. I had one person just spam distracted, 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 and it was just blaring this foghorn for I don't know how long. I had to end up muting that.
Yep.
Which, by the way, is another tip. Having a way to have all of your audio in individual channels through some sort of system, whether it's through OBS or something like that, is also very key and very helpful. Because then, if something goes wrong, you can like mute it. Or you can adjust the volumes individually, like say your volume's not loud enough or the game's too loud, you can then adjust each one individually. So in my case, I use a Stream Deck, which is amazing. It's expensive, but it's really useful when you're a streamer. When that happened, and it was just like blaring this this foghorn, I was able to just hit a button and mute it. So I'm like, everybody doesn't want to hear that.
so that's a lot of good stuff for when you get started. But let's touch on the how-to. Like for example, I started streaming with an Xbox, just an Xbox, and a headset for a microphone. That's it. I had no camera. I had no way to show my face on stream. So the way I started building up an audience was all I had was my voice and my gameplay. So again, that kind of touches back to keeping a narrative, but whereas you're a VTuber, like you also have no like face cam and you've got the model. How would you say is VTubing, like getting you started with a VTuber, would that be a good way to break into it, or even take a step back and just kind of do like the no cam, just voice with gameplay to kind of get used to the feeling of, okay, I'm engaging people as I'm playing a game?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. If you don't have a very good video cam, VTubing is a very easy way to get started because you don't have to have a good quality cam. You just need to have a camera. So you can easily set that up. But if you're not planning to be a VTuber for a long time, there are even easier ways to go about it. So when I started streaming, similar to you, I didn't have a video cam or anything set up. All I did was I actually had a little picture of an avatar or something, and I put it in the corner, or it could just be your face or something, and then you could just write your name. That's all I did. I had BuriedCandy, and at the time I was doing a lot of Genshin Impact, so my avatar was Arataki Ito. I don't know if any of you are familiar, but so I just had a little like illustration of him in the corner, and then my name, and that was it until I started using VTubing software to actually create a model and then put that on stream. So you don't have to have a lot. Nowadays, you can even, like I have some people in my community who want to get started streaming, and they started doing it a little bit with just an iPhone or an iPad. Like you can do it directly from the mobile apps nowadays. So you don't need a big gaming PC to get started, although it does help, especially if you're wanting to do more of the more kind of
The high-end stuff.
higher end stuff, because you'll need the processing power, the graphic power to actually run, I don't know, a bajillion programs at the same time.
Let me just start out OBS, okay? Let me do Mix It Up On. Let me do Visual Studio. Da 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 da. Oh wow, I'm running so much CPU. Things are lagging. Whoopsie.
Before we continue on, yeah.
So do you mind to ask you, like, how long when you first started, like, how long does it take you to get your first, like, stable group of people who consistently come back to you? Like, how long normally do you take?
I think that's really dependent on how much you're putting into it. Like we mentioned earlier, we talked a little bit about consistency. I know for myself, even with YouTube, I was making videos, I was putting out content on a consistent basis. I don't know how long it was before I got a group of folks that would just like comment on every video, or like every so often there would just be like the same number of views. It really varies from person to person depending on how much engagement you're delivering, because that is one thing I feel that Twitch is fantastic with, is the engagement potential, like through just the way to people engage with their chat, or they have a lot of different extensions on the platform that you can use to engage. Like I think I'm in the process of setting up an avatar pet, so then people can like give treats to, or head pads, or like this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, I think it's. What do you think there, Bill?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like it depends on you as a streamer, your consistency, what games you're streaming, how much competition there is. There's a lot of kind of variables that go into how long it takes to get that consistency. For me, I think it took me. Now, keep in mind, I have done Twitch for other channels before. I'm not brand new to it, but when I started my own stream, it took me about 6 weeks to hit affiliate. Normally, in order to become an affiliate, which by the way, we should talk about, because we talked about the perks of being an affiliate. To be a Twitch affiliate, you have to stream a certain number of hours in a month, in a 30-day period. You have to have at least an average of 3 viewers over that period of time. It doesn't have to be like every stream in that
That's
month.
3 concurrent viewers,
Yeah,
so that's
concurrent
like
viewers.
over a month period. The amount, actually, I'm not completely sure how to describe concurrent viewers.
So it's basically like how many viewers are watching your stream at the same time. So if you stream, say, I can't remember, I think it's like 12 or 20 hours or something like that.
I think the minimum, I think the requirement is at least 12 days in a month.
12 days in a month, and I think 20 hours.
Something like
around
that, yeah.
So within that period of time, you have to average out over all of those streams 3 concurrent viewers. And then once you get that, you'll be able to unlock affiliate, which will then give you a whole lot of opportunities and all that kind of stuff. I lost track. Speaking of ADHD.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You can get to affiliate, and then once you do hit affiliate, that's when like the channel point feature opens up, and you can have. So there's a little that by default, I think it's like a diamond or something on the left side of your chat window. You can actually customize that to flavor it to your stream. So like for example, if the theme for your stream is a pastry shop, you can have like donuts as your channel icon. Or if you've got plants as your main theme for your channel, you can have like a little sprout or something. So that's one of the things. And then I don't remember if this was actually a thing that was available, but I thought I read that affiliates could also now form not parties, but like party stream. No, sorry.
Co-stream?
Kind of co-stream. Stream Together, sorry.
Yeah.
I think Stream Together is also a feature that might be locked behind affiliate. And with Stream Together, you can actually have the audio from somebody else along with you. So like if you're co-streaming a game, you can turn on the audio, you can turn on shared chat. So then you're not just looking at your own chat, you're also seeing what's happening in somebody else's chat. And then if they mention like, oh, why is he doing this? Then you can actually be like, well, actually, I can see that. So let me tell you myself.
Co-streaming is amazing because then, like Zach said, you can have a shared chat and you can bounce back and forth. When you do that, typically there's a lot of kind of cross-pollination of viewers. So whenever I do co-stream with someone, some people from their stream will then end up following me. Some of my followers will go follow them, and it's such a good tool. And the other part of it that's also kind of nice is that if they get rated, which we'll talk more about raids after, but if they get rated, then you can engage with their rated audience, and those people could potentially then come and follow you, and so there's a lot of benefits.
It's a huge, great networking tool that I would encourage everyone who is thinking about streaming, if they want to do that, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
So here's kind of a thought. Have you guys both thought streaming like this out to your viewers like right now?
Funny you should mention that, because I'm actually doing that to my viewers on YouTube, so I can actually just have this on the better searchability platform. And then I will kind of like tag on that this is happening on Twitch. So yeah, like, and things like that, it can happen that way.
I thought about it when I was walking in the door here. So
Do it.
I know. I wasn't thinking.
You're too slow.
We spoke about raids, so let's talk about raids. What is a raid? So a raid is when another channel brings their viewers who are watching them on a stream to another channel. So you can raid someone else at the end of your stream, or vice versa. They can raid you at the end of their stream. It's a really great tool for a couple different reasons. Number one, for your audience. If you are ending your stream and you want to be able to keep entertaining them, you can bring them to another channel that's streaming similar stuff. So whether it's a similar kind of style to you, it's the same game that you're playing, you can bring them over and then they've got something else to watch whenever you're finished. The benefit of it is that it builds rapport with that streamer. So streamers always love to get rated. And if you do it a lot to the same streamers, it builds relationship over time. So now I've had people who I've rated who now have come back and rated me and other opportunities and that kind of thing. So it's a great way to kind of build relationships with other streamers, to find co-streaming partners that you can do stuff with in the future, and together like build up your community.
And I love raids so much because that is available to everybody. Whether you're just starting out, whether you're on your way to affiliate, whether you've made it, or even up to partner level, everyone is able to raid, and that is the best way to, one of the best ways to support someone by going in with your streamer and being like, hey, we were just doing this over there, what are you doing in this game? And the thing that one aspect of raids that I don't think gets talked about enough is that the size doesn't matter. The way I view raids is you're on your stream, you are hosting a party. You've been going for a long time. It's been a great party. You love everyone that's come out, no matter who it is. But you're tired. You've got things to do in the morning. You probably have to feed your dog or like walk your cat, maybe like change the water in your goldfish's bowl. And that's, your tank is drained because streaming does take a lot out of you. So instead of being like, okay guys, party's over, time to go home, you guys get some rest, and people in chat they might want more. So you can be like, hey guys, party's over here, but we're gonna take our party over to somebody else's house, and then you guys can keep jamming over there. And it's, honestly, I love it when people raid and then they come in with either like a set raid phrase or just like a bunch of emotes. Because on Twitch, actually, when you get raided, a lot of the times, if the streamer has it set up, the emotes will pop up in chat, or there'll be like some on-screen alert that shows like fireworks going off and confetti everywhere, and that is just like one of the most wholesome hype things that I've seen on Twitch.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And we talked earlier about how I'm notoriously horrendous about ending my stream on time because I just want to keep the party going. And that's a good way to do it, is to go and raid someone else's stream. And just, there are so many great opportunities, whether you are a small streamer raiding another small streamer, which is kind of a great way to like get started, but then you can also raid big streamers. I raided, I think his name is Sayu. He's the voice actor who plays Sino in Genshin Impact. I've raided him before, and he acknowledged me and told people to come and follow my channel. And then I raided the voice actor who plays Paimon in the same game, and she did the same thing. She acknowledged and said, thanks for coming over and bringing your people. So it's a good way to kind of even just build a name for yourself as a streamer. I actually have a funny story about the first time I got raided. So this is before I became affiliate. I was just getting started streaming. I had like maybe 1 or 2 people watching my stream at the time, and my wife came in and she's like, hey, can you help me out with something in the garden? And I'm like, sure. I mean, there's not really anybody watching my stream anyway. So I just said, be right back, gotta deal with something. I left for like 5 minutes. I come back, there's like 30 people in my street. I'm like, shoot, I got raided. And I'm like, oh, sorry everybody. I'm back, I'm BuriedCandy. And then I did my own spiel. Actually, that's another good point. So if you get raided, it's always good to reintroduce yourself. Even though like people have been watching, it's good to say, hey, welcome raiders, thank you so much for coming in. My name is blah, blah, blah. I play such and such games. You can follow me in these places, come join my Discord, and then thank the streamer. And then oftentimes, like Zach said, it's hard streaming, and sometimes people have been streaming for a long time. So acknowledging that with the streamer, saying, you know, if you need to raid and run, if you need to go get some water, get some food, get some sleep, get some rest, go ahead and do that. Same with everybody who's raided. I don't expect all of you to stay, but if you want to, come join the fun. It's fantastic. It just kind of helps. You know, give acknowledgement, more people will come in.
Yeah, and with that, I'm glad you touched on the introducing yourself part, because it's a lot of times in content creation or just in business in general, you have maybe 10 to 20 seconds to elevator pitch yourself to people who might not know who you are at all, to maybe entice them to drop a follow or just like thank them for coming in. That 20 seconds is like your first impression. And I know we all want to make good first impressions when we meet new people. So stuff like that is really, really key. I've seen some debate back and forth about like introducing yourself like right out of the get-go, just you. I've seen other channels that like immediately launch into a raid scene, which like it's fun to kind of get a sense of like a personality and like the game, like highlights from the game. But the fact of just connecting with people on a personal level, I feel like is more Twitch's atmosphere. So in that first 10 to 20 seconds, really put yourself in front and be like, this is who I am. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This is the kind of stuff that I do. And let your personality shine through in that first impression.
Yeah, so important. I know we are coming up. That is, we are coming up. We've got like 15 minutes left. There's still so much I wanted to cover, so we're gonna like plow through some stuff really quick, and then I want to leave time for questions, more questions. We haven't talked about the hard part of streaming. So let's dive in for like 5 minutes. The one hard thing.
Yes, the one singular hard thing. Everything else is easy peasy.
Yeah. So let's dig into that a little bit. Streaming's hard. It's hard to get started. It's hard to continue to grow. It's a lot. It's like running a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so it takes a lot of energy to do it. It takes a lot of motivation. It takes a lot of drive. As you grow, there's a lot of growing pains, whether it be, like I mentioned, trolls. I've had those, both good and bad. I've had some people trolling me for fun, but then also, people who aren't so much fun. There's days where your stream maybe doesn't do well, and it's mentally taxing. There's a lot of different challenges, so let's dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So I know for myself, one of the big things that's been challenging for me, and we touched on it a little bit earlier, is when the chat is either dead or just a very, very slow trickle. I am an extrovert by nature, so one of the things that I love on Twitch is talking with other people and having someone to bounce the energy off of. I see it almost like a game of tennis, whereas like I'll shoot some energy out at chat and then kind of wait for it to come back to me, and then we just got to keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If it doesn't come back to me, I'm bouncing off nothing, and that's kind of when like the keeping a narrative comes into play. But I've definitely found, as an extrovert, it can be very difficult to maintain the energy when you're not getting it back. And that's honestly, like, I've done my best to like work through that, and it is hard a lot of the times. But yeah, that's one thing for me. How about you, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, there are days where I will have a stream and I've got like 30 people on stream, and it's busy and it's exciting and it's like we're having so much fun, and then the next night there'll be 3. And I'm like, dang, like what did I do wrong? Like, why is there only 3 people watching the stream? Those days can be really tough because it's like, am I doing the right thing? Should I even be doing this? There's a lot of self-doubt that can creep in when things like that happen. One of the things that I found is I have this mentality of like stream for the one. So not necessarily stream for everybody, not stream for having 100 people in your stream or watching your content, but stream for that one person who really needs it. And that has really helped me mentally. But not only that, it's actually true. Because there have been times where I've had streams that have only had a couple of people in it, and then afterwards the people, or even during, the people will write to me in chat and just say, thank you for being here, thank you for doing this, because I had a really bad day, and just being here with you is making things better. So if you just have one person in your chat, but that's the person who needed to be there, that makes it worth it.
Messages like that mean so much to us, more than like getting rated by a partner, more than getting 4 subs. It means the world if we can just hear, thank you, you helped me. That is something that is so rare these days, I feel like. And to do it through a screen, like for some people, they're comforted by touch. For some people, they're comforted just by having someone else physically there. But if you can do that just with your voice and with your presence online, phenomenal. And you did, I had a thought as you were saying the numbers there, turn your viewer count off. That meant mentally, that will save you. When I started on an Xbox, I did not have that choice. The Twitch app made it mandatory with the broadcast bar to show the viewers. And I had a number of times where I would see just like 1 digit or like 0. And it really messed with my mentality. So that's one of the things that I could really encourage people for starting up. Turn your viewer count off. If people are there, they'll announce themselves. If they're not, then they're just lurking. That's fine too. The fact of the matter is, you might not think that it'll affect you that much, but subconsciously, you'll peek up at it every so often, and then you'll start to change how you are on stream, whether that's for, most of the times, it's gonna be probably for the worse, because you're gonna start to physically or verbally have an effect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important. Like mental health, like once you get into the streaming community, you'll hear a lot of people talk about it. There'll be people who take days off for mental health because it can be taxing, both physically, like I mentioned, but also emotionally. Whenever you're kind of riding on as an entertainer and you feel like people are judging you all the time, whether you're doing a good job or not. So taking care of yourself, your community as you're building it understands and cares about you as a streamer, especially if you do a good job building rapport with them and taking care of them as a community. So if you need a day off from streaming, just tell your community, and most of the time, they're gonna be like, do what you need to do, take care of yourself. So they're very understanding, very entertaining, or empathetic, and so just take care of them, they'll take care of you, and it'll make both your career, I don't know what you want to call it, journey
I call
as a
it
streamer, yeah, your journey as a streamer, way better, but then it'll also, create a thriving community.
And then when you go into your next stream, after that mental health break, you could be feeling 10 times better. And one of the first things you say to your chat is, thank you guys so much for understanding that I needed a break last time. I'm ready to get back at it, and we're gonna have a fun night.
And there's some times too where I won't feel like streaming because I just either had a bad day or I'm not into it. Be your own best judge on whether you should continue to stream or not. There have been times where I'm like, I really can't do this. I just absolutely cannot. I'm not going to be entertaining. I don't have the mental capacity to do it. I really need a time off. And then there are other times where I don't feel like streaming, but I'm going to jump on because I have a lot of fun anyway. And once I get on there and my community's in there, then I'm perked up. I'm like, oh man, this is the best part of my day. Like, even though I have a horrible day, I'm loving being here with you guys. And it can also be a boost to your mental health. So, but it's always good, you know yourself and know what you can handle and not.
Absolutely. All right, do we want to take some time for Q&A? Questions?
Yeah, let's open it up. We've got a couple minutes. Does anybody have any questions?
Because you're watching.
I know,
You're still wearing a watch.
Yeah, I got it. So I've had this minor speech impediment for like so many years, and anytime that I go live, like I get nervous. So do you have like any I sometimes slur my words sometimes. Do you have any like advice or tips of anything about that?
I mean, for me, being as open and transparent as possible helps because your community understands a lot, and they will support you. So being open and saying, even in your about, you can say like, hey guys, I have a bit of a speech impediment, so if I stutter, this is just me. This is what you get. It also really helps. Like I'm really open about my ADHD, like I mentioned, and they kind of made it into a bit of an entertaining game with the whole like foghorn thing. But they're going to enjoy you. You're going to attract the community that you need to attract, or not need to attract, but like the people who are meant to be with your community are going to understand and they're going to appreciate you for you.
Absolutely, yeah. Honestly, launching out from what Phil said about the about section, writing like in your about section where you kind of write like a little bit about yourself, super helpful. So things like I have a speech impediment, or I have ADHD, or I sometimes, I don't know, like I get chronic headaches, sort of deal. Just like letting your chat and the Twitch community know more about you as a person will help them connect to you more, because you never know who out there has the same sort of thing as you and has like kind of a similar situation. Like I stutter with my words a lot, so I don't talk as much, or I have ADHD and people are always making me be like, oh, look at that over there, what about that over there, how about this up there? So letting your community know a little bit about you they will be empathetic if they're the right people. If you get a troll come in and you really start grinding your gears about it, just delete, just ban, just do whatever you need to do as a streamer to make your safe space. Did I say that right? Your space, yeah, your space safe. I thought I said your safe space for a second.
It both works.
Alright.
Yeah, and the other thing about it too is that the more transparent and authentic you are, the more people will also look up to you in a sense. So when they see you doing it with a speech impediment, they're like, wow, like if you can do it, maybe I can do the thing that I want to do. And so that's actually come up with me with my ADHD. I bring a lot of ADHD people in here, and they're like, wow, you're actually doing things like I can't finish anything. And so they see me, I'm working on a game right now, they see me doing it, they see me like taking action, and you can become a role model for people who struggle with the same thing that you struggle with. In the back there.
Yes, just a couple of questions, small questions. One, if you were to look like, if I was looking to become a YouTuber, how much actual expression could you actually get? Because you mentioned it's harder, you don't get quite as much expression from it. What would you say is like the most kind of expression experience that you could get?
You can be very creative if you have the time. You can create expressions in Vroid Studio, and there's also other ways you can add even more expressions and then export those out. Depending on the tools you use, it's going to be a little bit different. But you can have it where you can trigger it with a keyboard press. You can have it trigger with a word. So actually, so I have an Easter egg in my stream right now, where if you type in Rickroll in my chat, it plays an 8-bit version of Never Gonna Give You Up, and I do the little like my avatar does the Never Gonna Give You Up dance. So you can get really expression either through your body or facial expressions. If you eventually get to a point where you want to put a lot more into it and get a stream deck, you can set up buttons for each one and trigger emotions based on the button. And then I know that you can do it. I've not had as much success with it, but you can actually have, if you have a really good camera, you can actually have it recognize your facial expressions and your VTuber will mimic it. I haven't done it because when I tried it, I was always like smiling because I don't know, I smile a lot, but it just made my VTuber look really weird. It was constantly looking surprised and like all this stuff. I'm like, that's not what my face really looks like right now, so I shut it up. But yeah. Did you have more?
Not really.
Any other questions? Yes.
So there are two types of VTubing, right? 3D and 2D. Do you know much about 2D?
Okay, so I have looked into 2D VTubers a little bit. I'm honestly intimidated, and I really appreciate everybody who does 2D VTuber. To me, it looks like it's a lot of work. If you're a really talented artist, then by all means go for it, because it requires a lot of customization. It requires a lot of the same stuff that you need to do for 3D, but you have to do it all by hand, essentially. So there are tools like Live 2D indicators where you can rig up characters, but you still have to create all the skeletal structure for like all the individual strands of hair that you want to move, and pieces of clothing, and all that stuff. So it is a little bit more work. 3D VTubing I find is a little bit easier in the sense of you can use Vroid Studio to create your avatar. It doesn't have as much customization as like drawing it yourself. Although if you get really good at using 3D tools, you can make it look whatever you want to. But the benefit is that it already comes right there. So you don't have to add the skeletal structure. If you are using different animations that you get from online, you can add like the Rickroll dance. I don't have to make that myself. There's other creative people who do that are compatible with 3D VTubers. And so the journey is a little bit easier, I find, with 3D VTubers than 2D, but they're both really great.
You talked about face tracking. Have you looked into hand tracking as well?
Yes, a little bit. I don't know a whole lot about it. I've actually was talking to two people from Sony. They've got these like wrist kind of things that help with hand tracking.
I can kind of answer that a little bit.
Yeah.
So, Ultraleap, they've made devices that like plug into your computer and it can track your hands. So it would take a little bit of work. Like you can integrate that with like Live 3D or other programs like that. Other programs might need a little bit more work, but it's like designed for like Live 3D. Where if I were to move my left hand, then the avatar also picks that up. Something to think about. But still, you've got to buy the external hardware.
Yeah.
One last question. So, like, from your past experience, is there any specific time, like, will be more viewer than the other? For example, like midnight from 9 p.m. to midnight, or is it like more weekend-ish, or is it like more morning-ish? Just curious, like, is there any specific time you might end up with?
That is a very good question.
Thank you.
I'm not the greatest when looking at analytics. So the various times that I do, like Tuesdays and Thursdays, as much as my schedule will allow, I stream at 7 Atlantic. And then Saturdays, I try to go for a longer period and I stream at 2. So like I've got evening streams and then I've got an afternoon stream.
Yep.
I think in general, the afternoon stream has performed a little bit better because also it's the weekend too. So like my stream, I try to keep like a PG-14 rating, so not like super like heavily guarded, but also I don't want to get like too on the opposite end. Like I kind of say I'm family friendly, and then I play games like Assassin's Creed where I'm murdering everyone. So like maybe that's my own hang up, but I think in general it would be like an afternoon going into the evening because people, especially on the weekends, people are either off from school or they're have a day off from work, or like they're just getting off from work if you want to do a long stream. So I think in general, what do you think about that, Phil?
I have a couple of answers to this, similar to what Zach said, but for me, there's a couple different factors. Number one, it depends on the game you're playing and where the audience is. So if you're playing a game that's predominantly like really popular in Asia, then the morning might be a better time because it's their evening, for example. So you have to look at the game. Twitch does provide analytics of like when you can look up a certain game and it'll say like what day that it's most active, how many people are watching at a particular time on average. The only trouble with that is that like I have tried following that, and like I would stream at the peak time where there's like so many people. But then everybody else has the same idea, and so the competition goes up, number one, but then two, people don't realize that you're streaming at that time. So if you get bumped down on the rankings, which by the way, one of the struggles with Twitch is discoverability is horrible, so you've got to find other ways like YouTube, TikTok, or collaborating with other streamers to find ways to attract an audience. But I spoke to a friend of mine who's got like, I don't know, 250 or 300,000 followers on YouTube, and I don't know, it's a lot on Twitch. And one of the things that he said specifically was, just be consistent with your schedule. That's going to make the most difference, because then you can build an audience over time. Trying to go for like the peak periods is not going to be super helpful. But that's what I found. I tried streaming in the morning. Sometimes I would get a lot of people, sometimes I would get nobody. I tried the afternoon, which is supposed to be a peak period for the games that I play. And same thing, I had maybe 3 or 4 people watching, but then when I stream at my normal time, which people are expecting me to stream, that's when I'll get the 8 to 30 and sometimes higher kind of thing. So just keeping your consistent schedule is I think the most important part.
That did make me realize in my brain another pitfall, or maybe not pitfall, but struggle with streaming. Like, back when I was playing Sea of Thieves, I streamed in the afternoon, it would kind of, I get some people, because that's, Sea of Thieves is very big over in the UK, because it was developed by Rare Limited. So they're over there, and it would be their evening. Sometimes when time allowed, I'd be able to stream in the morning, which is their afternoon, and that worked a little bit better. But streaming in your time zone will work to your benefit, because then you're not going out of your way and exhausting yourself to meet the demands of another region of the planet. So streaming within your own means, although the growth might be slower, it's going to be worth it in the long run, because you're going to have organic growth. People that want to be there, you aren't breaking your back to stream at a time, and they're not breaking their back to try to make it at the same time. Hope that helped.
Thank you.
And just to give a little bit more on that too, like the time where I had gotten rated when I wasn't even at the thing, I played a lot of Play-Verse games, which is super popular in Asia in particular. That I got rated because that was the time that a lot of their streamers in Asia were finishing, and so they were looking for someone. So that's when it happened. But like I mentioned, I tried streaming at that time. I wasn't super consistent. I would do like one day of that, and all my other days from the evening, and it killed me. Like I didn't get anybody unless you get lucky with that one day.
If you can make stuff like that work, though, like more power to you. There have been times when I have a good sense of someone finishing up a stream at a certain time, and then I'd be the lucky soul that gets rated by them. I think a couple of times been rated by Sea of Thieves partners during drops weekends, which brought in like sometimes 3 to 4K people. I'm just like, oh, okay, I did a good thing this time. Cool, awesome. Sweating internally because, wow, that's a lot of eyeballs. But again, rates, treat them as you would any, no matter what the number is. Because again, that's people wanting to share their community with you, because there's something about you yourself that is unique from every other streamer on Twitch.
Yeah, any other questions? Well, thank you everybody for watching and coming and chatting. Feel free to hit us up. We'll be walking around. I'll be walking around all day, so if you do think of any other questions, you can just let me know.
I mean, I plan on walking. I'm not going to fall everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll just leave you with final thoughts, just to piggyback off of what Zach said. Like, treat your community amazing, and they'll love you back. And you also never know who's going to pop into your stream. I had the voice actor from the game I was playing at the time actually pop into my stream once, which was actually pretty cool.
It's not about, like Phil said earlier, it's not about how many people are watching. Sometimes it's just about the one person that needs to hear something, hear a comforting voice, or just to be entertained for a little while, or just feel like they have someone to be around.
Yeah, I've had so many conversations like that, and it's amazing. Where can they find you? We're streamers, so just
as you
talk about
can see
where we're
on the
streaming.
screen, you can find me. Thankfully I've got consistency with my platforms, so you can find me at ZachTac77 on Threads, X was Twitter, but you know what happened with that. Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as well. YouTube.com/C/ZachTac77, because the platform is weird and won't take you to anything if you just put in /ZachTac77.
Similar to Zach, I try to be consistent. I'm not necessarily consistent all the time because I waited too long and people stole my name on platforms, so I wasn't able to get mine. But the main ones you can find me on BuriedCandy on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. I am on X and Blue Sky as well. Just search me and you'll find me. Yeah, I think that's it.
Certainly looks like it to me.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for joining us, folks. Thank you all on YouTube for watching. Always making